So yeah, I mean, it pushes you back into the seat, and then there's 60. So I mean, even the A-Spec all-wheel drive has this incredible amount of performance. Welcome to Drive Culture. I'm Jonathan Rivers, and today we have the 2024 Acura ZDX A-Spec all-wheel drive. And I'm going to tell you why this might be the perfect combination of features, tech, and performance. So we'll go over the exterior, the interior, the powertrain, and of course, take it for a drive. So if this is content you're after or you're new to the channel, please be sure to click that bell to subscribe to come back for more. And with that, let's get after it. All right, so let's talk about the exterior design of the Acura ZDX A-Spec. Now, if you guys haven't already watched our video of the ZDX Type S on the channel, be sure to check that out and let us know down in the comments below. Are you perfectly fine with the A-Spec, or are you gonna jump all the way up to Type S levels of performance? But as you've seen in that other video, or if this is your first time watching, you'll know that this is Acura's first full all-electric SUV. Now, the ZDX, as some of you may know, was co-developed with General Motors. But let's quickly talk about what's theirs and what's Acura's, right? So right off the bat, the platform, the motors, the battery tech came from General Motors. It uses the Ultium platform of EV technology. Now, everything above that, the stuff that you can't see, was co-developed and designed by Acura, including the styling on the exterior and the interior of the vehicle. Now, at first glance, you're really not going to notice that there was any kind of co-development here. It uses Acura's design language, and it has pretty good styling up front with some sharp character lines going down the hood. That's kind of Acura's signature design, which takes you to their frameless diamond pentagon grille. Now, it's actually not a grille, right? It's closed off being an EV, but they still found a way to integrate their like diamond mesh pattern into this surface so that it fits in line with the rest of the Acura design. You got the huge Acura caliper logo up front and these awesome chicane daytime running lights with the Acura Jewel Light LED lights just below that. Of course, if you look real close, you'll even see nice little touch points that they added Acura into the headlight design as well. But what's new and unique for ZDX is they also lit the outside of that grille. So at night, at first glance, you'll not only see the DRLs, but you'll also see the diamond pentagon illuminated from the surround, and that looks really, really nice. Now, down below, standard features, you got things like 4 parking sensors, you have active grille shutters down below to help with aero and efficiency while driving, and again, it's a really, really clean design. But as we make our way to the side of the ZDX A-Spec, you're gonna see a really nice wheel and tire package here. This comes standards with 20-inch wheels and tires. Now, they're a 265 50R20. It's a black finish wheel with a machine finish and chrome lug nuts. So it's a pretty premium design. And if this isn't your taste, you can actually go on Acura's website and choose a dealer installed gloss black 20-inch wheel. Same size for the A-Spec. If you want bigger than that, you got to jump up to Type S, which will give you 22-inch wheels. Standard brake system here, but good performance. Now again, with this being EV, you're gonna notice the charge port here. So let's talk about charging for a quick sec. So open it up, it's a push to open, no mechanical whiz-bang fanciness there, which I like because sometimes that stuff breaks or is expensive to repair, but it's very easy to open. Now, what comes on the standard car is a CCS, so the combined charging system port, the little plug here, if you pull that out, you're going to use that if you're using DC fast charging. Otherwise, you're just going to use the circle for standard level 2 or at-home level 2 charging. Now again, this has a 102 kilowatt hour battery pack. That's the standard configuration no matter which trim ZDX you go with. And what they've said on their website is in the ZDX A-Spec, you can get about 79 miles of range back in 10 minutes using DC fast charging. And even at home with their available level 2 home charger, you're gonna get just under 30 miles of range back in a single hour of charging as well. So really good charging specs. And again, it makes it competitive in this segment because the total driving range of the ZDX A-Spec all-wheel drive is over 300 miles of range. I wanna say it's 304 miles of range, we'll put that number down below. But again, very, very competitive EV specs in today's marketplace. So as we continue along the side, you got black mirror caps for the rear side mirrors, LED turn signals integrated, which is a nice feature. And as we take a step back, let's just take in the whole profile here. So you can see that ZDX A-Spec has really short front and rear overhangs. But what it does also have is a really stretched wheelbase, right? So they were able to push out the wheels and tires and really give you a lot of inside space as well. So we'll talk about that in the interior. Down below on every ZDX trim, you have this kind of silver cladding that carries from the front of the rear. Otherwise, it's going to be body color. Now, the particular ZDX A-Spec all-wheel drive we have today is a mercury silver metallic finish. Now, on the A-Specs, that continues all the way up to the top of the vehicle, but if you go Type S, the roof actually becomes black. So let us know down in the comments below, which one do you like? Do you like it all body color? Do you like that two-tone design? The A-Spec all-wheel drive also gives you these black roof rails, and as we make our way to the rear, got that same 265 50R20 tire setup in the rear, so it's a square setup. But as we make our way to the rear exterior design, ZDX has a really nice LED tail light design that fits in line with the MDX and the rest of the Acura design language. You also are going to have the Acura logo out back, A-Spec badging. You're going to notice this little E: badging, which is to signify electrified vehicles for Acura moving forward, and an AWD, not SH all-wheel drive, a typical all-wheel drive given the electric motor setup. Now, there's also some good features back here with 4 parking sensors and a rear view camera as well. So I think we've covered everything on the exterior. So next, let's go ahead and hop inside to talk about the interior. All right, guys, here we are inside the Acura ZDX A-Spec all-wheel drive. It's a really nice place to be. There's really good materials throughout. As we talked about on the exterior, clearly this car was co-developed with General Motors, so while there were some carryover items with the battery, the platform, and the electric motors, you're going to find some of that stuff inside as well, including like some buttons and switch gears. But holistically, I think if you look across the dash and you look at the materials, it fits in line with like RDX and MDX. It's actually not too far off. There are some specific things also to it being an electrified vehicle, but we'll point those out as we go along here. But, you know, first and foremost, you sit inside, you know, and you get to the steering wheel. It's a nice diameter. It's a pretty thick steering wheel as well. It is flat bottom. It says A-Spec down here, which is a nice touch, and it has contrast stitching really throughout the vehicle. So there's a couple different interior color choices that you can get, like a red or a black, or even this off-white they call orchid. So there's a few different interior color choices. We're obviously in the ebony or the black interior. On this particular one, like I said, you get red contrast stitching. So it's on the steering wheel, it's on the dash, really the entire dash. It kind of carries across down here on the center console and all throughout the seat design, which we'll get to here in a second. But back to the steering wheel. So there are some buttons here that you can tell were borrowed from General Motors, but you still have the Acura logo here dead center. On the left are going to be your cruise control functions. On your right is basically going to be all your media and audio functions as well. And what's nice as part of the features, there is a heated steering wheel on A-Spec standard, and that button is over on the right side as well. You'll also see that there's buttons in the back that controls the volume on the right and the track functions to seek different channels on the left. And then on the left, there's this very small paddle shifter. And no, it's not for switching gears. It's actually a part of the brake regen function, which we'll talk about during the drive. Beyond that, the stalks here, you got all of your window wiper controls, your turn signals are on the left, and on the right, this is actually the gear selector. So you would know that a lot of times Acura will have a push button style gear selector or even a mechanical lever. Well, in this case, they decided to put the gear selector up here. Some of that is the commonality with General Motors, but some of that was also to kind of clean up this center console design here. So if we quickly look over here, what you'll see is it's kind of got this like cockpit like feel for the driver, but on top there's a huge rubber mat tray, which is nice. You could throw your your phones and keys and other things like that up here. You have these two really large cup holders. They fit, I think, 32-ounce bottles, so that's a really nice function. You also have a pocket type wireless charging pad, which is nice. You just drop your phone inside. There's two USB-C charging ports here and even a 12-volt socket, which is nice. But like I said, by not having the gear selector in this area, you've kind of created this floating design here. So there's actually a lot of space down below. So, you know, you could put your purse down there, small bag, even like an iPad if you're traveling for work. So that's nice that you have that extra space and functionality. And then if you lift up the center console, there's actually really deep. There's a lot of space down there. So really good space there as well. We'll talk about the HVAC. Again, these are some of the buttons and switchgear that you might find is common with General Motors, but the good thing is that they're still high quality. You know, they do operate really easy, and it's nice that all of your climate control and all your seat heating and ventilation is on here as well, so really, really easy to access. Typical glove box over here, pretty good size. But again, as I look across the materials, they're really nice. Everything's soft touch or some kind of like leather material, so it's a very premium cabin. You get this nice kind of brushed aluminum on the doors, and there is really, really nice ambient lighting, which you're not going to see here in the day, but I want to say there's like 26 different customizable colors for both the LED light bars on the door and the dash, as well as the footwells, the cup holders, and things like that. So that's really, really premium. But next, let's talk about some of the tech and features. So right in front of you, you've got this 11-inch digital instrument cluster. It's a really, really high-res screen. It's completely configurable. It actually has 3 different kind of key layouts, but even within the different layouts, you can display like your music, your energy efficiency, things like that. So that's a really nice touch point. The one nice thing, and we'll talk about that more in a sec, is that you can actually put your maps full screen right in front of you. So that is a really, really nice feature. Then here in the center, we have an 11.3-inch full color touchscreen display. Acura claims it's the largest and highest res screen that they've put in a car. So that's a really, really big statement piece. But you can see when you're not using other functions, it's kind of a simple black and white design language here. But the key thing is that standard, it comes with Google built in, which is 3 key apps. I'm sure you've seen this in some of our other videos. So it's the Google Maps, the Google Assistant, and the Play Store to download new apps over the air. Beyond that, there's Apple CarPlay and Android Auto compatibility, both wired and wireless functionality. And so again, it's a really easy screen to operate, lots of vehicle functions buried in these menus as well. So it's a really, really good setup here. As I look across, also ZDX comes standard with a full opening panoramic moonroof, which is a big deal because a lot of EVs have a big fixed piece of glass over your head, and some don't even have a shade. And even on like a day to day where it's actually pretty hot outside, guys, I mean, you just feel the sun beaming down on you. So the fact that you have this power shade that closes or that you can open it up is actually a big deal among the EV competitors. And then lastly, let's talk about the seats. They're really, really nice. Both sides are power, 12-way power, a lot of adjustability. I got really comfortable, and I think these would be really, really good on a long road trip. And, well, guys, if you know me, you know I love music, so let's quickly hit the fact that standard is a Bang & Olufsen premium audio system with 18 speakers inside, and it sounds incredible, right? There's a specific tweeter design that Acura and Bang & Olufsen did for the car. Looks really premium, sounds very premium, and really what's nice is in the touchscreen here, Bang & Olufsen included their signature equalizer settings, which is called Baosonic. So really, really easy to use. It's this big dial that just allows you to quickly choose your signature sound. So very, very premium touch points throughout. So next, let's go ahead and hop in the rear to see how much space we got back there. All right, guys, here we are in the second row of the ZDX A-Spec. Now, there is a lot of room back here. I mean, it's very, very surprising, but some of that has to do with that really long wheelbase that I talked about on the exterior. It's like 121.8 inches. Anyway, it's a really, really long wheelbase, one of the longest in its class. So what that did is allow them to really stretch out the interior, push the wheels out, which gives you a lot more space inside. Now, it's not a 3-row, right? It's only a 2-row, 5-passenger mid-size SUV, but it pays dividends because there's a lot of space back here. Again, I'm about 5'10". This is my actual driver position in front of me, and I have knee room and leg room for days. And it's really nice, easy to just slide my feet underneath as well. Up at the top, I have lots of head space as well, shoulder space. Look, there would be no problem fitting full adults back here. 3 adults across, no problem. Obviously, if you were to have, a child seat back here, that would be no problem. It's nice too because these little latches are really easy to access as well. They're plastic, they just fold up. That's a really nice touch point. But even this center seat, right? So it's actually recessed from the 2 outboard seats, which is nice because that would give the person sitting in the middle a little bit more headroom, knowing that you have this panoramic moonroof right above you. But also you can see is this, kind of center armrest folds down. There's cup holders here. The center headrest raise up. Really, really good features there. You do have HVAC vents. You don't get full control back here, but at least you have the vents blowing on you. You have this kind of cubby space here, a little pocket. You do get 2 USB-C ports for charging on this trim as well. Map pockets on the back of both seats, which are really high quality. And then even some of the high quality materials from up front carry into the rear with this aluminum finish. You even get the LED ambient lighting on the rear doors. You get these awesome Bang & Olufsen speakers here, the contrast stitching materials, and even the speakers above your head for that amazing Bang & Olufsen system. Everything in the rear also feels really premium. So with that, let's go ahead and see how much cargo space the ZDX A-Spec has. All right, guys, let's go ahead and talk about the ZDX A-Spec cargo space. So, of course, you could open it from the key fob that comes with the vehicle. It is a power tailgate. In order to do the kick function, that hands-free access, you got to step up to ZDX Type S. But pretty easy here. I'll go ahead and just do one quick pull. Opens right up. And so, like I said, there is no third row. This is a 2-row, 5-passenger vehicle, but there's really good space back here. So with the seats folded up, you actually have 29.7 cubic feet of space. If you fold those down, it actually jumps to 63 cubic feet of space. So it's a lot of space back here. It's really nice because while there are latches on the 60/40 rear folding seats, there's actually these 2 buttons off to the side. One says L and one says R. And if you push those, essentially that releases the latch and the seats fall forward. So it's easy to fold them down. Also, if we go ahead and look here under floor storage space, there's actually a really deep cubby space back here, which would be nice for something like this. Being an electric vehicle, this would be the perfect place to store your cable charging set because as we'll talk about up front in the powertrain, there is no frunk. So they pretty much prioritize that space here in the rear, and it's really deep and you'd have no problem fitting it back there. So other than that, premium touch points, you do get speakers here in the D pillars and back, and you get some nice latch points as well. So with that, next, let's go ahead and talk about the powertrain. All right, guys, here we are with the powertrain of the Acura ZDX A-Spec all-wheel drive. So we didn't cover pricing, so let's hit that real quick. When you start, you have the A-Spec rear-wheel drive, which means there's a single electric motor in the rear of the vehicle. That starts at $64,500. The car we have today gets an additional electric motor here in the front, and that jumps to $68,500 MSRP. Of course, if you want to go all in and go Type S, that's going to be $73,500. And if you're a true enthusiast, you'll get the high performance Summit tires, which cost an extra $1,000, bringing it all in to $74,500. Now, the good thing is that any of those trims are eligible for the $7,500 federal tax EV rebate. So that can make a big difference in pricing. And from there, it might impact on which trim you actually go with. Now, like I said earlier, all ZDXs come with a 102 kilowatt hour battery pack, all of the trims. But this particular trim's output is very impressive. It comes with 490 horsepower and 437 pound-feet of torque. Now, obviously being an EV and having all the batteries down low, it's a heavy vehicle at just under 6,000 pounds. But those performance specs are impressive. So there's only one way to prove that out, and that's to get behind the wheel. So next, let's go ahead and take this thing for a drive. All right, guys, here we are inside the Acura ZDX A-Spec all-wheel drive. and we're gonna go ahead and take this thing for a drive. So go ahead and grab my seat belt, get that in, and foot on the brake. There actually is a power button here, so push that in, and the car turns on. So it's nice. Again, one of the benefits of being of an EV, it's super quiet. You don't actually know that it's on. So you will notice it's on when we drive away here, because there's a government regulation that the car has to emit a sound, right? So that when people are walking by, they actually have some kind of audible sound to know that a vehicle is coming their way. So so we'll go ahead, and you'll probably hear that as we drive away. But as I mentioned in the interior section, the gear selector is up here. So foot on the brake, you actually pull it towards you and then down to go into drive. That sound started up, kind of sounds like singing angels. And the good thing is that it's only on from like 0 to about 25 miles an hour. After you get above that speed, the sound kind of automatically cuts off. So with that, let's go ahead and take off. So like I said earlier as well, if you haven't watched our review on the ZDX Type S, be sure to check out that video. Now again, that car is fully loaded, comes with all the bells and whistles and the full output of this Ultium battery platform. But like I mentioned in the powertrain section of this video, this car is no slouch on performance and or specs, right? 490 horsepower, 437 foot-pounds of torque. Again, those are really impressive numbers no matter how you cut it. Combine that with you know, competitive DC fast charging capability and over 300 miles of driving range. You know, they're quoting 304 for this particular trim, and that, like I said, are really impressive electric vehicle specs. So up here, we're going to go ahead and take off. One of the benefits of EVs is that you also have the capability to do one pedal driving. So one of the benefits of this particular car is you can actually adjust it. Now, it's obviously buried in a menu, but what's nice is they've added the ability to adjust the one pedal driving setting here on the home menu. So if I push it once, essentially it puts it on. Now, I mean, it wasn't on before, so that's what's nice, is you can actually turn it off altogether if you want to drive it like a more traditional ICE vehicle. But for me, I really like the one pedal driving functionality, and I think once you get used to it, it makes a big difference. So right now I'm on the normal level of driving for the one pedal setting, and it's instantly noticeable. Like when you turn it on, the vehicle almost immediately starts to slow down. And so getting into it, there's really good speed, but then you just kind of slightly let off and it automatically starts to slow you down. You also get a notification in the digital instrument cluster right in front of you. You kind of see this power and charge meter. So when it's regen braking, there's a green bar that's filling up, and when you're accelerating, there's a blue bar. So pretty easy to understand if it's actually regenning or not. Speaking of regen, like I said, there's a paddle shifter on the left side of the steering wheel, and what that is essentially, like, the way I look at it, because there's not like designated levels to it. I know some EVs and hybrids behave in that way. It's actually more of like an additional like brake pedal. Like, hear me out, because the way they have it programmed in is essentially it's not a one-time push. It's not a one-time pull and hold. You kind of like gradually pull it and it begins to slow down the vehicle, and then if you really pull it hard, it really slows down the vehicle. So like I said, it's kind of like having a brake pedal right here with a touch of a finger, so that's nice. I'm just gonna go ahead and take off in normal mode, and yeah, the power is impressive. 50 miles an hour like that, and it was gonna keep going, and I'm in normal mode. We'll talk about the other drive mode here in a second, but the performance is no joke. Even though you're not in the Type S, there is plenty of power here, and at the same time, you still get a lot of the same great driving dynamics that you got in the Type S. Now, this one doesn't have the adaptive suspension or the air suspension that the Type S model had. It also doesn't have the crazy big, 6-piston front Brembo brakes that the Type S model had. But those things aside, the driving dynamics and performance is actually very similar, especially around town. Now, like I said, there are different drive modes. They're controlled by a button over here on the left. So it's kind of, I wish it was a little bit more readily available, or maybe right here in the center area, like some of the other Acura models. But you essentially go up and down the menu settings. There's a snow mode. I'm driving in normal. There's an individual that you can control each of the areas, or you can go in sport mode. So of course I'm going to try to get into that. sport mode. And what that would do is at night, it would turn on the red ambient lighting, and immediately, as soon as I turned it on, man, the difference in the weight of the steering was, I mean, instantly noticeable. It's way heavier, and it definitely feels more direct. And considering I'm going around some pretty aggressive turns here, it's actually a very, very nice touch. The other thing is, yeah, that throttle tip in is just even more aggressive. Not that you needed it because you had, you know, all that power from 0 RPM to begin with, but now it really, really is there. The other thing is I'll go ahead and change the one pedal driving setting again. So you can go and hit set level on the menu, and I'm gonna put it on high. Now, what this does is, I mean, the second you start to release the brake, I mean, you get really aggressive brake pressure, and it starts to slow down the vehicle really quick. So, I personally like driving in this mode, and this together with sport is actually a really fun driving mode because you have all that power when you take off, and at the same time you don't have to worry about, you know, moving your foot. You just kind of slightly let off, it regens really hard for you, and it brings you back down to speed. So it's actually a really interesting driving mode, especially when you're on some more aggressive you know, canyon roads and things like that. But now that we're in sport mode, we're gonna go ahead and turn and then give it the full throttle, and you can feel the performance here. So I'm just gonna kind of turn off, not a lot of throttle just yet, wait till we get straight, and I'll show you. So I'm at around 20 miles an hour, and then here we go. So yeah, I mean, it pushes you back into the seat, and then there's 60. So I mean, even the A-Spec all-wheel drive has this incredible amount of performance. 70, right? I mean, the performance is amazing. You know, you thought, okay, well, I got to get a Type S, you know, not saying don't get it, because the Type S does have even more power, right? The big difference is, although the horsepower ratings are very close, the torque ratings are what really stands off. The Type S has well over 100 pound-feet more of torque than this car does, so that's instantly noticeable as well. And then I think the other thing is, once you get past a certain speed, the power on here might die out, where on the Type S is going to keep going and keep going. But man, if you're not all in and you don't need to spend that extra cash, I mean, this ZDX A-Spec all-wheel drive has tons of performance. I mean, outside of some really high-performance EVs in the market today, there's not many cars that are going to be able to beat you off the stoplight. Having that, you know, power from 0 RPM is truly impressive. But if I take a step back and kind of judge this car for what it is, because it's not a Type S, like I said, it's super quiet in here. I mean, whisper quiet in here, so really good NVH. The ride quality is really good, not too soft, not too firm. It has amazing features and technologies that we covered. Again, for me, having the premium Bang & Olufsen audio system is an awesome way to be driving around town. And then, you know, match that up with, like I said, the panoramic moonroof, you know, you have ventilated seats, heated steering wheel. I mean, the list goes on and on. So for $68,500, right, that's the MSRP, but then you take off $7,500 for the currently available federal tax rebate, and now you're in the low $60,000 for all this performance, tech, and design. So I think that's a pretty good bargain. Let us know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Also, let us know if you guys want to see the single motor rear-wheel drive A-Spec on the channel. We're happy to bring that to you. And if there's other EVs you want to see on this channel, including Teslas, let us know down below. So with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this drive video.
All right, guys, that's a wrap. What did you think of the 2024 Acura ZDX A-Spec all-wheel drive? Is it the perfect blend of performance, features, and technologies? Or are you just gonna say, hey, the rear-wheel drive single motor is enough for me? Or are you crazy and going all in up to Type S levels of performance? Let us know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Also, let us know if you do want to see that single motor rear-wheel drive A-Spec on the channel. We're happy to bring it to you. We already have the Type S on the channel, so be sure to watch that video as well. And if there's any other EVs you guys want to see, let us know down in the comments below. We'll try to get them on the channel as soon as possible. So for those that have joined us so far, thank you very much. But if you're new to the channel, please be sure to click that bell to subscribe to come back for more. Thanks, and we'll see you at the next episode.